Before we wander on into the episode, I just want to make sure that everyone goes out there and hits up the YouTube, check out the Spotify, check out Apple, wherever you're listening or watching to this podcast, is to go down, like it, subscribe, hit the bell if it's YouTube. Make sure you're getting those reminders. We do put these out every week. So make sure you do all that. It helps us out. And in the long run, we can make better things. So again, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff.
We can wander our way over, because this is Wandering Ways.
What's Bigfoot possibility?
Clink.
Blink, click, clack, clickety clack. Hello, welcome everybody. It's another wonderful Wednesday. I am back. I know I wasn't here for last week's episode, good old native tourism, but if I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if I'd be any good for that kind of an episode.
Hey, you've been to Monument Valley. We've taken you up the Two Medicine. We've taken you onto some reservations, but what'd you think of that one? I gotta ask you. I gotta ask you right off the bat. What'd you think? Did you listen to much of it or most of it or what?
I listen to here and there. The thing is, like, I've been so busy that editing the podcasts, I don't listen to all of them as much right now, just because I'll be like, all right, I got 4 podcasts I got to edit, and I only got maybe 2 hours to do it. So I start really pumping through them. So I heard little bits here and there. One thing I'm surprised is you guys know a lot about a lot of different tribes, a lot more than I thought you guys would actually know. um Also at the same time, I shouldn't have been surprised because it's Matt Buddy and he's kind of like a rain man when it comes to like native tribes.
Right. No, and we were in the heart of that down there in the ABQ this weekend. Yeah, no, it was good. It was good because we even talked about the new national park that possibly might happen in Georgia, and it will be tribally run. So kind of
Yeah.
cool. But no, we were down there for the Gathering of Nations powwow, the world's largest, biggest North America's powwow is what they call it. Gathering of Nations. They already handed out bumper stickers for 2024, April 25th, 27th next year. You can go in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and fantastic, man. The food, the red and green chili peppers, like people are like, oh, it's Mexican food. It's Mexican food. You go to all the restaurants there, it says New Mexican food because it's the chilies, man. It's so good, tastes good, good times, good times. And then we how about food? The fry bread, ooh, good stuff.
The fry bread, yeah. Good old fry bread. It's a chalupa, if anyone is curious or they don't know what a fry bread is. It's essentially, if you go to Taco Bell and buy a chalupa, it's like damn near the same thing. It's just it's different in a way. One, because it's coming from like a vendor, and two, the chalupa has like the little like taco-esque shape, whereas the fry bed's more flat.
Way different, way different. I mean,
Yeah,
way
if
better.
you really break it down, like on pure ingredients,
See,
they are like the same.
the thing is you go and me and Paul were talking about this. We need, and since the Little Shell Powwow is in August, it's the last weekend of August, kind of like the last weekend of summer. Great Falls, Montana. That's where it'll be. Um, we were talking. We need to have a fry bread competition. You just invite people, best fry bread, because you get different, like all different types, right? You have the desserts, you have like the chilies, you have the tacos, you have the pizzas that people put on them. You have different sizes, small, big, medium, large. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those foods that it's really cool. Kind of one of those uniting foods of Native America. When you look at like these larger things that unite us, like the game of basketball, res ball, you look at the powwows, you look at like some of the culture. and how it unites us in that sense. And it's just kind of cool. And fry bread's one of those things, it's really one of those modern things because of the reservation era, but we won't get into that. We're not going to talk about that. You can hear about that on a native this fall with Matt Buddy, because we go and just talk native with you guys because to educate all those on the proper things that are going on. We're relevant. We need to talk about it. We need to say it. I mean, it's a tourist thing. Albuquerque's a fun time. You know, you got the Sandia Mountains, you know, the Watermelon Mountain there sitting over ABQ. It was 80 degrees, sunny. We were able to get out. We drove the Jemez Springs kind of loop, went through the Jemez Reservation or Pueblo, the Pueblo of Jemez. We drove through there and went up into the mountains there, and then into Santa Fe. We saw Old Town Santa Fe and Old Town Albuquerque, and there's a lot of just art markets, the vendors, the people sitting selling the jewelry makers, and then the food again, right? Like, and then just the history of what Santa Fe is. Santa Fe is one of the oldest capitals in the United. Um, it's the highest in elevations at like 7,000 some feet in elevation. It's the highest. Um, Albuquerque is at like 5,000 feet as well. So you're up there. You're up there. It's a high desert. It's really great. It's dry, but it's beautiful, man. I really want to take you down there in the fall because that's like a good time of year and go down to the balloon fiesta because that's just another magnificent, the hot air balloons and fantastic, it's a good time. Great, great, great time.
I think it's Albuquerque that is like a big popular spot for endurance athletes to live and train in because I believe there's hills there that gets you pretty high. So like what you do to like get the most out of your altitude training is you train high, live low. So they'll go up into the hills, train all day, then drop down and like they live and so you can become altitude adapted rather quickly in Albuquerque. To be fair, you can get altitude training in anywhere, especially if you know how to breath work it. But Albuquerque is kind of just it's been known in the past for as a popular spot for endurance athletes, like big name endurance athletes.
Holly Holm too, UFC fighters. It's another big Jackson's gym, man. That's a famous gym that is down there as well. A lot of good that I think Sandia Mountain, like I was saying, the water. I'm looking up the elevation right now. It is 10,000 feet, and if Albuquerque's sitting right there at 5,000, that's 5,000 elevation gain right there. And then really, like, it's kind of crazy. I didn't realize this growing up as a kid. We had a cabin in Chama, New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the back you ride and Durango. It's another one of those valleys, and I just crazy to think like that northern New Mexico. People think desert, they think aliens, they think Roswell, White Sands, Carlsbad Caverns, but they don't think about is the mountains up north and the Bigfoots. No, I'm just kidding. Navajo do have stories. It's good. It's also Breaking Bad, man. You got Breaking Bad fans. That's another thing going in Albuquerque, the meth. No, but we saw it. We saw that. It is the 11th most dangerous city in America. We did look that up. The crime based on like violent crime and theft is kind of what makes it dangerous. Saw Billings, Montana, working its way up the list. Number 30. Portland's at 56, and Billings had a billboard that said, "We don't want to be Portland." Well, maybe you do, because like it's more dangerous. Billings. They had just the other day. Sorry, guys, this is crazy. I don't know what the hell is going on in Montana. They found a body burning on 56th Street.
Oh wow, that's kind of fucked.
Billings, man. I live here. I fucking hate it.
Yeah, that's kind of wild. But we are not here to talk crime stats. We are not here to talk all New Mexico. No. No, no, no. We're here today to continue on our lovely little series of the ABCs of the national parks. We're staying in the seas for now. I don't think much longer, but we're going with a popular one around where I'm at. Good old Crater Lake National Park.
You know, it's America's deepest lake. This lake here. Shocker alert.
Yeah, it's a deep one. It's a real deep one. But no, it's so if you don't know, can find some fun facts right off the top of good old about Crater Lake. It was established in 1902. It's located in Oregon. It's Oregon's only like scenic national park. They have Lewis and Clark National Park like up near where Fort Clatsop is there. But that's kind of that's technically a different status of national park um because it's more
It's
about
like
the history than it is the scenic part.
like that. How I went to in Ohio, I think it's the president's house there.
Yeah,
Kind
it's that kind of classification. So it's the only one in Oregon. It is 183,000 acres, averages about almost a little under 650,000 visitors. Highest elevation there is 8,156 feet. And
I got.
1902 became on May 22nd. Actually, its birthday's coming up.
Oh, yeah, it's today, Mark.
It might, no, it's not today.
So the 22nd or the
May 22nd.
20 days from now. So you guys will be able to
Even when this comes out, it's not on that one. We got about 2 more weeks before.
celebrate.
So May 22nd, everyone go out. I don't know, look at some deep water, celebrate Crater Lake.
1943, 1,943 feet, 592 meters is what that is. It's the ninth deepest lake worldwide and the fifth national park. In the winter, ranger-led snowshoe hikes are offered on weekends and usually begin in late November and run through late April. So, wow, they still kind of have like that summer season, more like a June, July, August. Think about it because of the snow, the Cascades do rack up.
Yeah, actually, when I was looking up fun facts, Crater Lake will have snow that sticks until about July usually. And it will have, you know, what it say? It says October to about June, the most of the park's covered with snow, with like the last bit sticking around until like July. Um,
Here in this book I'm reading, it says 44 feet per year is the average snowfall.
yeah, that's what I found too. You can still visit the park in the winter. They plow the one of the roads in to the Mazama village there. It takes you to that west rim, kind of more southwest rim of the park. So,
Surprising,
uh,
I've never been, being in Oregon as much as I've been, and I mean, you have, so you kind of had some experience. When have you been into the park?
I I've been to the park. I've only been to it twice, so it's not like I've been a ton of times. The first time I went was in September, which was super cool. We just kind of went for the day type deal. It was when I was living with Vince actually. Him and all the Germans were like, "Will you drive us to Crater Lake?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Um, and then the second time I went to Crater Lake was when I biked it. Or no, sorry, I've been there 3 times. I've been there. The second time was in I think July as well. I was just trying to go through. Uh, wanted to go for a bike ride, but my bike was in the shop. So I just ended up doing a bunch of hikes in the area. And then the third time was last year. I went and biked the whole rim trail. And that one was in July as well. So I guess July. So summer, I've been there, haven't been there in the winter.
I would like to check the winter out, I think. Just based on kind of what you hear, like you think of it summer, you see the pictures summer. I mean, you also see the winter pictures, but like you really don't think of going to parks in the winter in this kind of one. We've ranked our winter parks on a few episodes, but like to me, it's like I don't think of the winter, but I kind of want now that we talk about it, I kind of want to because I'm sure the wildlife isn't quite like Yellowstone here.
Oh
I'm
no.
sure you get wildlife, and I'm sure in the winter you can get some really good wild.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think you're gonna get as much as you do in any part of the Cascades when it comes to winter. Um, I think it would be really cool to snowshoe this park. Get some snowshoes on and kind of like trudge around. So I think like if I were to do the winter, I'd like to put on some snowshoes and tromple around.
That seems fair. Like just to really kind of explore and get out. That is what the nice thing kind of again about the Cascades and the snow, because of the type of snow, how it builds up, how you can walk on it. And it does build up, kind of like what's happening in the Sierra Nevadas right now. It ocean water kind of builds up the snow on those mountains.
Yeah, there's a lot of snowpack in the Sierra Nevadas. I heard there's like roads getting washed out because of the big melt recently, and it's just water's pretty good right now. It's not seeping into groundwater or anything like that, but reservoirs and stuff are filling up. There's a lake here in Ashland that was before the big melt that we just had. It was at like 66% capacity, and it hadn't been at that level in a while because it's been the drought down here. So, and that was before again the big melt. So they're expecting more water. Um, but
Amazing.
we still have issues. Anyways, hopping back to Crater Lake, I think one of the more common questions people ask about just the park in general is the crater how it was formed, because it's technically a volcano. Um and it's a caldera. So Crater Lake, here's I'll read the fact here. Crater Lake sits in a caldera of the collapsed volcano Mount Mazama and is surrounded by incredible old growth forests, evergreens, and of course volcano remnants. Mount Mazama formed 500,000 years ago and erupted 7,700 years ago. So, been a while, but it was a big old shake and a big old boom.
Is it still active? Did you say?
I don't think Mazama, so I don't think Crater Lake is, but I mean, the Cascades, there's a lot of them are still technically active. Mount St. Helens being the most active of the bunch. Um, I think they say that, the big earthquake is supposed to help, like, possibly make one of them erupt, one of the Cascades erupt.
Do you
So
think
that's just more fun.
I know being an Oregonian boy, Mount Hood, right? You think that the big day is going to happen there, or do you think it's more likely to be a place like Crater Lake?
No, someone told me South Sister was the one that was going to kind of blow. So I'd be willing to bet it's one of those around the South Sister, just because there's a lot of them. There's like Mount Washington, Broken Top, Bachelor, the Three Sisters, Washington, all right there. So if there's a volcano that's going to erupt, that'd be my guess is one of those.
Makes sense. That makes sense. Well, you'll be
Yeah.
safe.
I probably won't. If the big one really does happen, it's supposed to really kind of kind of really screw us over. Uh, Fun fact about uh, Crater Lake. Crater Lake is actually surprisingly a dangerous place, is the fact that I'm reading. The only national park in Oregon is home to a number of mysterious deaths with only bones left behind to help us understand what caused their death. One mysterious death goes all the way back to the summer of 1974. 19-year-old Charles McCuller, photographer, left his home state of Virginia and set out to visit Crater Lake National Park. He left Eugene, Oregon, where he was staying for a few weeks, and left on a short excursion, hitchhiking to Crater Lake for some winter photos. He had planned to return to his friend's house 2 days later, and never returned. It sounds like there's just an absolute ton of these mysterious deaths. And I gotta be honest, I'm not that surprised. If you've been in the area of Crater Lake, it's a weird area.
Weird in the sense of you'll get lost, or in the sense that something bad.
Well, it's weird. It's weird in a couple different ways because, as you get into like Northern California and Southern Oregon, there is a weird just about everybody in this area. So you have that. Plus, it's just so isolated. There's really nothing too terribly big around it. The closest cities, bigger cities, in Klamath Falls or Bend, which are an hour. I think it's an hour and a half to Klamath Falls, and it's a couple to Bend. So it's 2 hours to Ashland, Medford, all that. So it's a bit isolated because there's small towns, but if you've ever been to a small town in southern or eastern Oregon, yeah, you know what you're getting in just by hearing that.
I, I feel you. Um,
Yeah,
kind of guys, and it makes sense because you got to be careful where you're at.
100%.
And I mean, I guess I did see that one guy up north in the Cascades. He did get lost on the road because he thought he was taking the back road, and his family. He was the only one that perished, but you gotta be careful.
And you gotta be careful in all of these parks, because anything can happen. What is it? They say there's a section of Yellowstone where you could get away with murder just because the way things, jurisdiction and all that, like gets mapped out. Like there's no one to really control that area.
Idaho portion.
Yeah.
Another cool fun fact about Crater Lake is um in Crater Lake, a disc was once submerged more than 43 feet before it was lost from sight. The average clarity of the lake approaches 115 feet. In comparison, Lake Tahoe, another remarkably deep, pristine lake in North America, boasts a clarity level of just 70 feet on average.
Yeah, that's
That's
what's
clear.
wild too, is like how clear Crater Lake is for how deep it is.
Well, they say, yeah, it's clear and it's good water too. It's clean and it's good
Hmm.
that water like that. Um, Maybe it has something to do with the volcano. Just you know what I mean? Like just
I think so. I think it does. Um, because if you really kind of think about it, it's a similar blue to like the blue pool, which is just, it's not too terribly far. I mean, it's closer to Eugene and like Bend up that way. It's on the McKenzie River. But how like the blue pool is so blue is because the water comes out of the ground of that volcanic system. And so my guess and theory would be that Crater Lake is a similar kind of system almost.
that makes sense. That makes sense. Kind of, yeah, just on a larger scale. Um, Also, fun fact from our subpar reviews. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, just something to look at and leave.
There you go.
And then here's what she said. This just goes to show you that even with the right mindset, even the deepest lake in the US, which is literally a collapsed volcano, can be boring.
I don't think
Oh,
it's boring. It definitely has that awe factor when you look at it.
right, right. And then another fun question I think people ask is the island out in the middle. Can you visit it? It's called Wizard Island.
You
Uh,
can visit Wizard Island. They have boats that'll take you out there.
summer boat tours. We should think about this, my guy.
And you can go to the top of Wizard Island, I believe, anyway.
Uh,
I mean, it's not that high of a point, but from where you are when you're at Wizard Island, it's a good climb.
so okay, interesting. I have a question now with Mount St. Helens since you hiked it. Would it, because it's so north, in the summer, is it always snowy? And if it was like because of climate change and whatnot, we're warming up, would it turn into a lake? Do you think?
Would it turn into what?
Like similar to this,
I don't know if it would turn into a lake. Um,
based kind of how
well,
blue.
yeah, it wouldn't one because Mount St. Helens, it'd be like one whole side of Mount St. Helens got destroyed.
I forgot.
So, there's a wall of the caldera that is thus busted. Um, but like if you did Mount St. Helens in like August or September, maybe even uh July, maybe even June too. But there's not like as much snow, and so it becomes, from what I've heard, it's kind of a bitch to climb because it's just a lot of loose gravel when you're
Yeah,
doing it.
like glacial kind of rocks. Yeah, it makes sense actually.
Yeah.
This is kind of an older one in that sense. Like
Yeah,
it's
I mean, this is definitely, I mean, it's been erupted for over 7,000 years. Um, Going back to the water of Crater Lake, though, 5 trillion gallons of water is in that puppy.
prove it.
Do you know what? I'll start go filling gallons and I'll put it into a bucket.
What?
Just cup after cup.
Park behind the lake, guys.
Yeah, that bee takes so long.
Right? No, that would take forever. It's crazy. It's crazy when you look at that. And then I'm curious. So we see that it says deepest lake. I'm curious, are there any deeper reservoirs or deeper dams essentially that would create those reservoirs? Um, than
I think so. I think they would classify them in the same category as like the lakes when it comes to the measurement of that.
okay, makes
Um,
sense.
you can hike to the lake only in one spot on in the park. It's kind of, I think it's the northeast corner of the rim trail there, which that part of the rim trail is only open in the summer when they've plowed it.
Do
So,
they is it a bridge or is it kind of like island hopping or how does that work?
to get to the water,
Well, to walk, like you're saying.
well, you can't walk. I mean, I guess you could walk the rim trail, but like the walk down is just walking down the side of the hill.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're not saying out. Okay, I see what you're saying. I was a little
Yeah,
confused.
the rim trail. So, the rim trail, when I was saying like the top of Wizard Island's not actually like that high, that's because there's parts of
Right.
the rim trail. I think a lot of the rim trail is actually higher than like the top of Wizard Island. So
That
anytime
makes
you're
sense.
getting into the water, it's a steep down.
Okay. And you hiked down when you were there, right?
Uh yeah, I think the second trip I did, I remember cold water. Um
I thought you said you did.
yeah, I don't know. That second trip I'm having a hard time remembering it for some reason.
All right.
But
Bad memories. It's fine. Bad memories.
I think it was I did it on like a whim. I think it wasn't like a planned thing, and so I just was like, oh, let's just go do it.
In need of LED lights for your vehicle? Look no further than our friends at Oxteo, keeping our vehicles well lit while on the road while looking for Bigfoot. Make sure to use code RUGARU, RUGARU, on your next set of LED lights. Hey there, Reverend. I heard that you might be running dry on your sticker supplier.
Yeah, I've been looking around and I've kind of like run out of cool stickers to buy and put on water bottles and stuff.
Well, I mean, have you seen the stuff Josh has been coming out with lately?
No, I have not.
Well, he is doing some really cool stuff with the Shop LS 574. Yes, they're working with indigenous communities and making some really cool stickers. He has a really cool Buffalo Mountain sticker. There's even water bottles, hats, sweatshirts, the whole swag. And we even got a discount code for you guys. Yes, if you use Wandering Ways at Shop LS 574, you're going to be getting a discount on your next purchase. But not only that, you're going to be giving a percentage of that sale to the Little Shell Tribe, as well as they donate $1 of every sale to murdered and missing Indigenous women. So just such a cool thing going on there. You know, you use the code Wandering Ways, WANDERING and you put that in there, boom, you're getting a discount. The Wild West is full of dangers, from snakes to bears. The outdoorsman must be prepared. That is why when you experience rivers like the San Juan or the Yellowstone, you must bring a blue ribbon net. Handcrafted and biodegradable, these classic wooden fishing nets are all you need while on the river. Make sure to use code RUGARU10 when checking out at Blue Ribbon Nets. Again, the code is RUGARU10. RUGARU10.
Uh, Crater Lake, love it. You know, it's a fun time to go. Lots of cool shit in Crater Lake. And speaking of cool shit, it's time. I feel like it's been a while for some reason about doing a cool shit in nature. But it's time for cool shit in nature. Got a couple goodies, a picture and a video today. We're going to start off with the picture, which is super cool. It is a thunderstorm taken from
Oh,
space.
that is really cool.
Yeah. Uh, it's really cool because it's like clouds and then it's just this like tower cloud like above them all.
Um, Another thing being just because we're just getting back from New Mexico, that place is known for some really cool thunderstorms. You get out in the desert like that, those thunderheads.
Oh, I
Um,
bet.
but just to see at this angle above the clouds and how it just builds, and it's interesting how they do that. You know what I mean? Like how thunderstorms build. Uh,
Hmm.
you know, because you see the clouds kind of like around it there, moving, and it just they like some of them seem normal in that sense.
I know. It's just kind of really cool to see it all like build up into like basically what looks like a tower, a cloud tower.
UFO. No.
There it is. It's a UFO. Um, Second cool shit in nature is it's a video of a wild boar at a ski resort just absolutely terrorizing some skiers and snowboarders.
What would you do?
I don't know in this case because like one, it comes out of nowhere, and like the guy, poor guy's like on the ground now because he's just surprised. I think I'd do what he's doing, take my board and hit him.
Well, yeah, they'll run away like that, but like, cause Colton has a pig, man, and those guys they get their nose in you. They like to like it's like a kind of like a sniff bite, and
Yeah,
it's I mean, you've probably been around pigs. Like it's like,
I've
dude, what?
been bitten by pigs before.
Yeah, they suck.
Yeah, it's not a fun time.
Like you totally get the iron, not the irony, or I don't know what you would call the what that would be, but like uh the word for it, but it's like why people use it for, it's like that guy's a pig. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Both in the way that like tough and strong, and the way they eat.
Yeah, right.
But speaking of mammals, animals, good old animals, you ain't going to find no pigs unless someone's letting one loose in this park, and you're not supposed to do that, so you'll get in big trouble. The largest mammals living in the park are elk, black-tailed deer, black bear, mountain lion, mule deer. Wolves occasionally cross over to the park boundary, but none are known as denzians. Um, I'm interested about that because of the wolf program going on in the park, or in the Cascades, I mean, not in that park specifically.
Yeah, I think it's too early to really for that program to see anything like that, you know. If
When
it- I don't even know much about the wolf program for the Cascades. Um
um when was it launched? Do you know that even?
I don't even know that.
Because I know there's talk, or maybe it hasn't launched yet. I got to look into it. Like you said, we don't know, but I know like when you look at like the Yellowstone one, it like at that 20-25 year range, from the 1995 when they released them there, the packs look healthy, and you look now, we're about 30 some years away from that, and the packs look healthy. They're thriving healthy. The ecosystems in Yellowstone are thriving, and they're at their good numbers. The bison are, there's so many bison that when they don't make it back into the park in the winter, they just kill them off. So, it's good to see. So I'm interested to see what the wolves do for like the Cascades and like a Crater Lake. What does that do to a park like that?
Yeah, it would be interesting. Yeah, I don't know, because it's not like, the only real big mammal population is like elk. It's not like there's bison for them to like munch on. There's deer. So I
Well,
don't know. The
they're
numbers I
probably
think overall will definitely be less just because there's less in the Cascades.
right. No, and it definitely would be. And looking at what you're saying there with the elk. I mean, the elk would be the primary
Yeah.
food source.
Hmm.
Looking right here, Oregon's Wildlife Agency estimates the wolf population at the end of 2021 to be 175 individuals in 21 packs with a total of 16 breeding pairs. That was only an increase of two from the year before. And that's the thing, is they don't do that. You know what I mean? They don't populate that quick. People act like they
No.
do, but the ecosystems can only handle so many. And when you do have a species that does overpopulate, sure, there'll be years where it's like, wow, they grew enormous, but you just got to watch that because they do die off. They can't all thrive. There's only so much land. There's only so much territory in that sense.
100%.
So I'm curious
Uh,
to see.
Popping back to another fun fact about Crater Lake. Um, it is so if you ever go, they're a popular attraction is what's called the mysterious old man of the lake.
Oh, I
And
like
believe it or
this.
not, it is actually not a human of any kind. It is a floating uh tree trunk. So, for reasons unknown, this full size tree trunk floating vertically in Crater Lake has been here for 120 years. It's known as the Old Man of the Lake, an ancient hemlock tree that first appeared in 1902, ironically, the same year that Crater Lake was named a national park. Um, this this story is probably the park's most famous phenomenon. A geologist named Joseph S. Diller first mentioned seeing this amazing stump 6 years earlier. 6 years earlier, New Wizard Island at Crater Lake's west end when reporting on the cataclysmic events which shaped the area. 1929, William Gladstone Seal mentioned seeing the great tree broken squarely off and floating upright. Uh, so it's kind of it's just a floating log. It sounds like.
Okay, okay. The I get that, but like to me, it's like, why won't it? Is there what's the science behind it? I want to know, I guess. And what it's really kind of creepy that it's the 1902 because I there are some curiosities when you look at the national park system and the importance of making them parks and at the like early stages of making them parks, right? Like take Yellowstone, and you when you look at Yellowstone, look at like the Snake River forms out of that. The Missouri River forms out of that, and what those ultimately go into and become over time, and the importances of like Zion and the rivers there, and just the Grand Canyon, the Colorado River, which starts in Rocky Mountain National Park, and how they're all connected, and how all these how we use them for our own like just life, right? But you take like a tree like that and you throw that in there of like it's kind of weird.
Yeah,
It's just weird. Like
it is super weird because it just showed up and it's just floating there.
because like you get the military, obviously the Area 51 stuff. You get like the Hoover Dam, which is like kind of a national park, but it's not because it's run by the National NRA or National or it's something different. Yeah, National Recreation Area, or it's not
I don't know.
it's a whole different government agency, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And it's just interesting when you get this stuff. It makes you question it again. It's this one's kind of silly,
Yeah,
but kind of like frick, man. 120 years later, it's still there doing that. What's going on? That's why I'm like, show me the science.
I know. Yeah, that you're bringing up some great points. I mean, I have a lot of questions about it too. Um, I think it's a fun little thing. It
Like,
is, like you said, silly.
is it moving around? Is it staying
I
still?
can't everything I find it doesn't say like if it's moving around, but if it's floating, that I would assume that it would move around because there's going to be the wind's going to create a current of some sort and move shit. So it's
Okay,
like
but well, what if it's not?
that I don't know.
Raise more questions.
Yeah,
Raise more questions outdoors, guys.
exactly. Uh, Other things you can find in the water though there at Crater Lake, not just
Old
floating wood. You can go and visit what is called, I believe, it's called the Phantom Ship. It's an island in the middle of the lake. And it looks like a boat. That's why it's called the Phantom Ship. But the island is an ancient rock formation appearing to resemble a large abandoned sea vessel that towers around 170 feet above the water. This phenomenal island is known as the Phantom Ship and is the remaining section of a filled conduit of a fissure from which probably poured many of the lower layers of lava constituting Dutton Cliff. To get a
school.
stunning view of this island, what looks similar to a small boat, visitors can either drive to the Phantom Ship Overlook, Watchman Overlook, or hike to the Sun Notch. It is pretty cool to see.
So it
I
looks
saw
like
it when I did the bike ride.
so it's over by Wizard Island there, kind of, yeah.
No, Wizard
No.
Island's more to the west,
Okay.
whereas this is going to be more like almost directly south, I believe.
Okay. Oh, I see kind of an island on the map.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Um,
Oh, I mean,
Speaking of biking, they do have a bike race. I think it's more of a fun ride. It's not really like a true competitive race. But they close the park to all vehicles so you can ride the rim. They do it like I think twice a year. Um,
Are
you,
are you going to partake?
I have looked into it every time that the race is going on. I'm in the thick of being very busy. If I happen to have that weekend ever open, you betcha I'll be doing it.
Might as well. It's right there, right in your neck of the woods. Like definitely something cool to do. Um, if you got the opportunity and time to do it. People don't, it's funny how people don't look in their areas sometimes. Like
Oh, I know.
I'll go over here and do this, and it's like, yeah, that's right in your back door too.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Uh, yeah, Crater Lake, it's worth the visit. It really is.
I see, and that's the thing. I'm so surprised I haven't been to Crater Lake because like of how much I've been to Oregon. I've been to Crescent Lake, but I haven't been to Crater, I don't think. And I need to go because I need to experience it because it's one of those ones to me that like there's not much on paper, I think, when you look at it. But again, like looking at the designation 1902, what's going on in the US in 1902, and what's going on in the sense that like it's the fifth national park. So it's early on. It's in the early stages
Mhm.
of the national park system. Um, I also think I take the native sense of like, is it, Oregon and the way they're trying to establish Oregon as a state or establish Oregon as a territory? Is it part of that? Is it part of taking native land, and pushing natives out, pushing them to Oklahoma? Because that's another trail of tears people don't necessarily learn about. Is there's a Modoc tribe in Southern Oregon and Northern California that was pushed to Oklahoma.
Actually, I think it's kind of fascinating you say that. I want to double check before I jump too far into that part of it. Um, Before I get too far into this one, fun fact: there's no lakes or no rivers or outlets for it. For Crater Lake, it's Crater Lake is Crater Lake. It's just a bowl of water. Uh, oh, that's the and I'm gonna butcher this name. I apologize. The Makalak people.
Okay.
So, the reason why it gets brought up is they, again, sorry about the name, the Makalak people have a legend about when the volcano erupted. So, according to their legend, the fall of the mountain was caused by a brutal battle between the spirit of the sky and the spirit of the mountain. The destructive eruption signaled the end of the battle. Many natives have since mourned the loss of their sacred mountain or sacred volcano. Sorry.
It makes sense in that, when you take the relation Mother Earth and how we as native people relate to Mother Earth in that sense, in these spiritual places, these special places. You look at Mount Hood, Mount Rainier, the stories they have with the native tribes in their area, the Grand Canyon to like the Havasupai and so on and so forth, right? You look at those areas and people and how they relate to that. And then you kind of look at like the stories of the Bible even, and you relate to like Sodom and Gomorrah and the cities God destroyed, right? And that like Asia and the those elements, right? In their religions. And you take that and you're like, huh, is that just a way of explaining that and remembering that story? Or is it a belief of something higher and truly these higher powers interacting with us on our earth?
Well, yeah, that's interesting. Because since according to the legend that the eruption's the end of the battle, you would really like to hear the stuff that happened right before the eruption. Was there some like wild weather? Was there like crazy earthquakes? Like what other things were going on that then led to the volcano eruption, and then
Right.
what honestly kind of I imagine is it just caving in on itself almost.
Yep. I mean, probably when you look at this kind of like how crater, like or not crater, but like St. Helens blew out the side. Like if this one blew
Yeah.
straight up, it'd come straight down in that, in that regard.
Yeah. So it would be interesting to see what other stuff was going on around that time. But anyways, like that, we have to keep moving on. We're running out of time, and I got to be that guy. So it is time for our final words. So final words, my man.
Well, so back talking Albuquerque, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico. We were down at the Gathering of Nations powwow. We were able to see a really good artist, native artist by the name of Stephen Paul Judd. I picked up his minifigures set of Res Detectives. Got him to autograph it here, so kind of cool. Go support him. I also want to talk about another guy, Bill Monroe. He is a Pueblo guy. He works with copper and silver art. I got a piece last year at Gathering of Nations from him, and I got another piece this year. Copper. He's all about the copper metal, keeping us grounded to Mother Earth, keeping us one with nature. This was his water design, and then last year I believe this was his mountain design as well. So I got my water and mountains keeping me grounded. Just very about staying grounded, and I just want to give them a shout out, and keep adventuring, keep finding what's going to keep you going. Reverend.
Reverend's final words of wisdom. Thank you. Can't tell you how much I appreciate every single one of you for sticking it out, listening to all these episodes. Just stay beautiful. Go out, explore. The weather is starting to finally get a little bit nice. We had about a week of it here in Southern Oregon, so we got a taste, and everything is ramping up. I have tan lines now, so I am excited. And it's just time to make it go from tan lines to one big old tanned body. So hopefully lots of fun things to come up. In that standpoint, just get outside, enjoy it, get that vitamin D, get that fresh air, look in the sun, enjoy the sun, watch a sunset, watch a sunrise, do all of the fun things that you can do outside and much, much more. With that being said, peace out, everybody.
Bye.